Happy Thursday, ladies and gents. Hope you're having a good day and it's off to a great start. We're getting into an important topic, something that we don't always talk about, and perhaps that's part of our culture. Perhaps it's the fears within us that we're scared to unpack. But we're getting into mental health and specifically depression. And our guest today is Sam McKenzie, who's going to share her journey, and she's so graciously agreed to share her story with us. But before we get into that, be sure to follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have questions, we actually will have a 4-part series. So this isn't the only show we're going to be talking about mental health. It's going to be this week and the week after that until we have all 4 shows, and we're going to dive into it. So if you have any questions, please hit us up on social media, and we just might answer them for the next show where we're going to have a psychologist. But again, our guest today is Sam McKenzie. She is a lawyer by profession, but she's currently the general manager at Bonk. She is a voiceover artist. She is an entrepreneur, and she is a lady with 21 piercings on her face. That's my most exciting part to announce. To be like, she has 21 piercings, you guys. Look at that.
I know, and my mom will be so disappointed that that's the first fact you mentioned about me.
It wasn't the first. It was, we talked about lawyer by profession. It just is the most exciting for me, because when we met just yesterday, sat down for coffee, which I'll show you guys in a minute, in a few. But when we did sit down, I was busy trying to count. Are they really 21? And they are.
Yeah. They're all relatively new.
Yeah, beautiful piece of work.
Thank you.
Sam, once again, thank you for choosing to share your story with us. And maybe we can go back to the beginning, right? And maybe you can share with us, when did you first realize that this wasn't just a bad day, but that it may be depression, which I don't know if I've even shared it, but Sam has been very open with us and with the public about her journey through clinical depression, right?
Yeah.
So when did you first realize that it wasn't just a moment, but it was something serious?
Well, I think it was a series of things that happened, because I've been trying to put my finger on exactly when it was, and I just remember for the longest time I was exhausted. Okay. From my last year of university, which was 2010, and then in 2011, a month after I graduated, my mum was in an accident, and I just kept working and kept going, but I just remember feeling perpetually exhausted, and it had nothing to do with sleep. Right. It was just I was tired all the time. I was losing interest in most things. I used to read all the time. I was hardly reading at all. I stopped wanting to really see people. But I think properly, when I realized there was something really, really wrong, was around 2013, 2014. And it was actually physical manifestations. I had migraines, and I'd be sitting at my desk at work, and I would not be able to feel parts of my body. So I thought it might be a physical thing.
Yeah.
And so I, at the time, was working for a news organization, and I planned to sort of take a break for a few months. Mm-hmm. And my idea was to take that break, figure out what's going on, maybe have a rest, because I'd been working since I was 18 and I was 28 at this point.
What? Okay.
Yeah, because I worked through university.
Okay.
So I worked at a fire extinguisher company,
Whoa.
taught drama, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then at which point when you realized that, you were having these migraines and things were happening to your body that weren't the norm, did you then go to a doctor, or how did you?
Yeah, I did, because I thought it was a physical thing.
Okay.
And the tests weren't really showing anything.
Yeah.
But when I left my full-time job and went and saw a doctor, I didn't even go to see a psychiatrist. Mm-hmm. I went to a family clinic. There's a family clinic at Aga Khan, which is actually pretty good. Mostly people think it's just for mothers, but it's kind of like how you used to go and see a general practitioner in the olden days.
Yeah.
Nowadays, most people go to the ER room if they're sick.
Yeah.
But you go in and you see a GP, and I was so lucky that the one who was there sort of took the time to like talk me through everything and tested me for thyroid to see if I had a low or hyperactive thyroid, because it could have been that. I got tested for all sorts of STDs because they might have like similar things.
Okay.
So I was tested, like I had a full blood
Body
panel.
check.
Yeah, full check, everything.
And at that point, what were the results?
That everything was fine.
So how did you then move from thinking, maybe it's...
It was her who explained it to me. Yeah. And I had actually seen a psychologist actually a year before. I've forgotten about that. And she had mentioned it. And we had a few sessions.
Yeah.
But I didn't think I had depression. I thought it was something that I could manage.
Yeah.
So like we tried homeopathy and change in diets and like get more exercise. But then by that point, when I had resigned from my job, I was so tired, like I was finished.
Right.
So like even doing the tests, I remember I was in hospital and they kept saying, okay, so now you need to go get blood work here, and then when you're finished you go here, and I was just like, this is too much.
It's a lot. So, and
Yeah.
what was your reaction when she did diagnose you with depression?
Well, I think it was sort of a relief, because it's really hard to like not understand why life is so hard and there's nothing to put your finger on.
Yeah.
So it was sort of a moment of relief. The tough thing was that I tried other things, and so at this point, like I had decided that I was going to go on antidepressants.
Okay.
And unfortunately, it's not an exact science.
Yeah.
So you try out. They start you off on like a low dose, the lowest dose of like what they think will work, and work up, but it doesn't really build up in your body for like 3 to 6 weeks. So you finally made the decision to take an antidepressant, which is a hard one, and you think you're taking sugar pills that are just expensive.
Right, because it's not working immediately.
Because you don't feel any better immediately. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, who was the first person that you told?
I told a close friend of mine who had had depression previously.
Okay.
And actually her having it made it easier for me, because she's the loveliest person. She's like, it was almost unimaginable. Like when she told me she had depression, I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
But when I was diagnosed, it made sense to me, her position.
Okay.
And it actually made me accept myself, because I was like, I love this person.
Yeah.
They're amazing and wonderful and intelligent and smart. If they can have this disease, there's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
And so she was one of the first people I told.
Okay. And how did your family react? Did you? Because I'm sure, I mean, eventually you told them.
Yeah, I at this point my mum was living with me, because it was about, after her accident she got worse, and she was actually diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
Okay.
Which so she came to live with me.
Yeah.
And at this point she was living with me, and it, for someone who's like worked a lot and like is pretty active generally.
Yeah.
Me not leaving my bed for 3 months and not really showering.
Yeah.
When you're in the same house, it sort of becomes apparent.
Yeah.
And my mum just she just didn't know what was going on. She was like, maybe she needs a break after like 10 years of working. Maybe she's exhausted. But but when I told her, and I told her I was going on medication, my mum didn't really accept that it was a disease. She just said she would pray for me, and this isn't a thing. She just didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until she read an article in the newspaper, we just didn't bring it up. I took my medication, I got significantly better, and I've had stages of being, but it's been cycles basically for the past 4 years.
Okay.
So
but it was a learning process, is what I'm getting, even
very
for her,
much so. Yeah.
You know, because it's not. I guess when what that shares with us right now and tells us is that a lot of times people think that this is, snap out of it, get over it. You're just being lazy, and they use that word to sort of define that.
I mean,
but
that's one of the the toughest sort of, because especially last year was probably the worst year of my life in my depression, and I could not get out of bed for most of it. I could not shower. And people give you advice such as, all you need to do is just do a bit of exercise or, get some sunlight. And they mean well, but sometimes they just really think that you're lazy.
Yeah.
And so I recently did like a photographic series with a photographer to show, and I love that photograph because it shows how I feel. It's like because I'm not asleep in the morning.
Okay.
I'm wide awake,
Yeah.
talking to myself, saying, Sam, okay, just try and get out of bed. Just all you need to do is get out of bed. And then from there, and I can't. And I'm there talking to myself into like I have a headache, trying to get myself out of bed. So it's so frustrating when people think you're lazy because you're constantly struggling just to live at the mean. So like, in a way, I guess I wanted to tell people I had depression because I feel like I've been playing the World Cup in my head and I'm starting to win, but no one knows I've been playing.
Right, so like just get it out, let them know, and we can all just move on.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
But it's like a constant internal battle, and you like the energy it takes to just be normal. You're not lazy at all. So that like association between depression and laziness is one of my pet, I hate it so much
because people just don't understand.
Yeah.
And you know, we were talking earlier, and you said to me, it really is a chemical imbalance. It's not someone who's fatigued or lazy, but there's something that's wrong. Really wrong.
I think it's not an emotion.
Right.
You need that because people use "I'm depressed" as an emotion, like an emotive. I don't know. Is that right? Is that even a word?
You're good. Yeah.
I was just about to say emoticon.
Yeah.
No,
That's not the word. That's not the one.
People use depression as like a way of describing emotion, and it's not. It's a chemical imbalance in your body, and it is completely debilitating.
Right.
Like Sharon, when I tell you I could not shower. I could not brush my teeth.
Yeah. So, and how long would these spells last?
I've had like 3 months, probably the longest, a couple
3
of
months
weeks.
of not being able to get out of bed.
Yeah.
And so in those instances, and I really now want to understand what that looks like, because I'm sure a lot of people are also curious, what does that really look like? How do you then... Is food brought to you? Do you?
Yeah, so it's actually a
go to the
blessing
bathroom?
in disguise. My mum isn't well, but it's actually a blessing in disguise that we live together.
Okay.
Because in 2014 I lost like a lot of weight, but at least now like I eat and I don't have to really worry about that.
Okay.
But it's mainly that everything else in my life falls apart.
Okay.
So over the last couple of years, I've lost consultancies and jobs just because I wouldn't turn up.
Yeah.
And even like last year in February, I have another job at Capsule FM doing voiceovers, which is where we met.
Yeah.
And I was not turning up. And all my job requires is to turn up and read a script and do it on time, like before a certain hour.
Yeah.
And I wasn't turning up. And like I'd been doing it for 8 years at the time. And my boss was like, what is going on?
And how did you explain that? Were you honest?
Yeah. I told her in the end because I had to, because I was going to lose my job.
Yeah.
And so that was a very simple job I almost lost last year. Okay. So any other job that required like real concentration, real thinking, real strategic thinking was because I wasn't reading, I wasn't, I just wasn't myself. So
in those moments when say you've spent weeks in bed, you can't come out, how do you finally get yourself out of bed and out of the house? What's that process?
I think there's been a fundamental change in my life this year.
Okay.
Before this year, it would just be time, and with time, I would start to get a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
But towards the end of last year, I had a very severe medical incident.
Okay.
The medication I usually take had run out, and so I took another medication, which resulted in a panic attack.
Okay.
And it was on the 30th of December, and so I literally thought I was dying. And it was in the middle of the night, and I called a friend on the other side of I called like alphabetically my closest friends, and she just was the only one who picked up because she lives in Colorado, so she lives in like the other part of the world. And I couldn't explain what was going on. She like couldn't understand what was going on. And so like she talked to me through the night, like called me every half an hour because we couldn't figure out what was going on. And and it turns out it was just a severe panic attack.
Yeah.
But like, and then she like handed over to another friend at 6 in the morning to take me to the doctor.
Okay.
And then because she had to go away, she then handed me over to another friend who like stayed with me. Okay. And then my friends like stayed in like my house.
Constantly,
like tag teaming it. Yeah.
It's friends who helped you come out of that.
Yeah, and being honest with my doctors.
Right.
Like the problem with like I find, I think it's most people, but like the dentist or a personal trainer or the psychologist is you want to go and you're fixed. So I'm always like, I'll go, and I'm like, amazing. And then I like procrastinate and procrastinate.
And it takes a while. Oh,
yeah.
sorry, Sam, we have to take a quick
No
break.
problem.
But when we come back, I want to get into, how you really got back up and treatment. And then we'll also give you a snippet of what Sam's day looks like. We went out, had a drink, coffee, and and you're going to look at that right after the break. But we'll be back in a moment. I'm here with Sam. It's a beautiful day, sun's out. Yeah. There might be a little bit of noise here and there, but that's what you get when you are filming outside. We're at the Alchemist. And I get to ask you, Sam, some questions about your day. So maybe you could take me through what your typical day looks like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it varies.
Okay.
I either start the day by going straight to my main job, or I go to Capital. I try and wake up the same time every day, which is 7, but I'm not always like.
Why are you saying it like it's not? It's like so.
Because usually I put my alarm on snooze
like
a lot.
Guilty. We all do. Yeah.
I try and keep like the same routine Monday to Sunday.
Okay.
It's just quite good to have routines.
Yeah.
It sort of keeps me like stable.
Even Sunday, you wake up at 7.
Yeah, because otherwise then your Monday will be completely ruined. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so like, what time do you get back home from work?
That depends, but I try and get home early enough so I can walk. Because I don't get much other exercise in, so being able to walk home is like great for me. Well, I don't go to a gym and can't afford a gym.
Yeah.
Really, so it's like the best way to.
And it's the easiest way. Plus, you get to be surrounded by nature.
Yeah, well, by people.
People.
And with tattoos.
What does your typical weekend look like?
So there's not really a typical weekend.
Okay.
Which is a problem because I tend to get a bit sad.
Okay.
On Saturday and Sunday and a bit. So I try to at least get out the house.
Okay.
I have a few close friends and like generally have quite boring activities like drinking tea and hanging out.
Sam, why aren't we friends? That's what I do. Drinking tea and hang out.
I know, it's like, stay in.
Playing board games. That's my kind of thing.
But I mean, I'd like to walk like in Karura and stuff, but I tend to not do that.
Okay.
Even though it's so close and it costs nothing to get in, I need to do that.
Yeah.
So it's definitely up my to-do list.
Okay.
But it's, Saturdays is usually like run errands.
Okay.
Yeah, so get medication for myself, my mom, organize my stuff for the week.
Do you watch shows? Things like that? Okay.
I watch way too much television. But then also sometimes I work weekends because I do pop-ups around design. So sometimes locally made products made in Kenya is another business that I run.
Okay.
So usually there's pop-ups on Sunday. So I tend to like work weekends.
Yeah.
So if Saturday I might be buying like packaging paper I might have forgotten, getting all the stock counted, and then Sunday I'm at a pop-up.
Okay.
So actually I tend to not see a difference between weekends and weekdays.
Right.
Because I might take Monday off.
What does Sam do to relax?
I'm not very good at that.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like my depression catches up with me when I'm still.
Oh.
Like when I'm busy, I don't have time to think about it. But it also tends to mean that I don't take care of myself. I don't eat well. I don't keep to my sleep routines.
Right.
And then, so I've just come out of the worst flu. Like, I thought I was dying.
Yeah.
And it was when I went to the doctor, he gave me the Latin name for the common cold.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that sounds right. And then he's like, but it's the common cold. And I'm like,
oh, you mean I'm not dying? Like, I feel like I am.
And he was just, rest, eat better. Have you been eating well?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. Have you been drinking enough water? No. Yeah.
Right. So to stop and to take care of Sam is important,
Yeah.
right?
That's my biggest struggle, to be
Yeah.
okay with being alone with myself. Yeah.
Okay, so take me through when you have a tough day or a bad day, right? What does that look like? And does it alter what you then go through on a daily basis?
Yeah, so I mean, I either know I'm gonna have a tough day the night before, because it all sort of starts then.
How?
If I don't get into bed early enough,
Okay.
then I know that I'll start panicking that I won't wake up early enough, and that panic will lead to like not sleeping. Basically, if I don't wake up in the morning or get out of bed, then it's gonna be a bad day.
Okay.
And it, like the misconception, even like with my mum who I live with, she just thought I was lying in, and she was like, you need a day off, just rest. But it was really like being awake but being incapable of moving, and that is the worst kind of day for me,
Okay.
because I do like working and getting out and doing things.
Yeah.
So that's a bad day for me, when I
Okay.
can't get out of bed.
What is the best part of your day? What's the one thing that you think, oh, this is the part I'm looking forward to. This makes me feel good or relaxed, or it's the easiest part of the day?
Well, so for the last 4 years, I haven't had like a full-time job.
Okay.
I couldn't really hold one down because I was really struggling with like quite basic tasks like reading, getting up, getting dressed. But now at my new office, I get in most days, which is great. Well, I get in there, or I get in at the shop, like in the various locations I'm working.
Yeah.
But the best part is actually that sometimes we eat lunch together, and because I don't really do family meals, I love it. Most people hate going to work.
Yeah.
But like I really love it, which is such a geeky thing to say.
And it's a rare thing.
Yeah.
It's a rare thing. Because
Yeah.
like you said, most people don't really enjoy it. So
Yeah.
lucky you.
But I think it's because I had like a big chunk of time when I couldn't work, and everyone thought I was lazy, and I was never lazy.
Yeah.
I just felt sick.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's such a pleasure and a privilege to be able to work.
Yeah.
And to have a job, and a good job.
Yeah.
That I'm just like, I love going in.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a good rundown of what Sam gets up to on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess now back to the show. Okay, that was Sam and I having a coffee and a chat, really. I just wanted to get into what does her typical day look like from start to finish, and what are some of the things that she does that makes her feel like herself a little bit or allows her to just relax. But before the break, you were telling us about your friends and how they came through for you, and we were just discussing how friends really they're such strong pillars in your life. But do you want to continue with the
Yeah.
story of how you managed to get out of the panic attack that you were having?
Yeah, well, I mean, so over 4 years, if
Yeah.
you are sick and if you start losing your income, you lose a lot of your friends because one, you don't have work colleagues anymore,
Okay.
and two, a lot of your social circles, at least in Nairobi, I feel are centered around like going out and drinking and social things. So when you no longer have money and you no longer see people, and plus when you're depressed, you're pretty flaky. Like sometimes you won't keep plans.
Yeah.
So the friends you're left with are your real friends.
They're the ride or die.
And
Yeah.
but even with them, even with myself, I wasn't being honest about how sick I was
Yeah.
and how bad things were. Like I was in so much debt. Like I
Yeah.
think most people knew I was behind on my rent, but they didn't know like how much other debt I had.
Yeah.
Because I literally hadn't worked properly. Being honest with my friends and like telling them all together and introducing them to each other because they
Yeah.
were all so different and siloed,
Yeah.
and being like, hey guys, so I'm gonna tell you everything.
Yeah.
And then I told my doctor and my psychologist everything and loop everyone in.
Yeah.
Because that week I just knew I couldn't take care of myself.
Okay.
So I just literally just handed myself over to them
Yeah.
to be fed and like to survive that
Yeah.
week. And I mean, my mum was there and she was also like, but she wasn't able to, she's sick
Yeah.
as well. So she
Actually, Sam, how
Yeah.
did you do that? How are you managing your illness and
Yeah.
your mom's? Because at this point, who's going to what? Who's paying the bills?
no one. That's why I had so much debt.
Right.
And I wasn't taking care of my mum, so I had huge guilt.
Okay.
Because she had this Parkinson's diagnosis and she had this accident, so she can never walk, so she's disabled
Oh gosh. And
to a degree.
Where's your dad in all of this? If you don't mind
I
me
haven't seen my dad in like 20
Okay.
something years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it really is just you and your mom.
Yeah.
And extended family.
No. I mean, they're there, but they're not interested
Okay.
in helping.
Okay. So maybe they just don't understand, and hopefully that's why these conversations are important, because maybe people just see, like we were saying, but just get up,
Yeah.
go to work.
Yeah.
You know? But hopefully the more we have these conversations, then the more they realize. And if not, you know what, Sam, you're here. You're general manager currently, still a voiceover artist, an entrepreneur, and you're picking yourself back up.
Yeah. But no, just with my mum,
Yeah.
that one thing that once I got better, I found her a Parkinson's support group.
Okay.
So I really suggest if you have a parent with Parkinson's, or anybody in your family with Parkinson's, there's an amazing Parkinson's support group that meets the second Thursday of every month, and it has been life-changing.
Okay.
So
Comes through for you
and
helps
if your
your mom.
parents are above 65 and you can't get them on insurance, sign them up for NHIF.
Okay.
Like
It's
that's
going
my
to-
public
yeah.
service announcement. I'm like, I've been trying to get everyone.
Yeah.
Like, do it.
So how did you end up getting this job now? How did you find a job after, all those years?
Well, actually, they came to me because it was I got a bit better, and then I got a phone call from the owner of this company.
Yeah.
And so it was in sort of early January.
Yeah.
And I was really just getting better, so I didn't know if I was strong enough.
Okay.
And also my CV wasn't looking so good, given that I'd lost a few jobs and there was gaps and stuff. But basically, my friends got me back on my feet.
Okay.
Back to and my doctors got me healthy, adjusted my medication, changed that up. So it was like a different variation, explained why I had a panic attack, why I felt like I was dying.
Yeah.
And because the whole of last year, I didn't want to kill myself, but I didn't want to be alive. Because one of my best friends died. I got run over by a matatu randomly.
What?
I know. It was at it reversed, and then the tire went over my ankle.
Oh, jeez.
And then there was Trump, and then there was 2
elections
elections
here.
Yeah.
And people, generally the economy was just not doing so well. 2017 was
a rough year.
It was a rough year.
So I just didn't want to be here the whole of last year. But my friends got me back on even ground.
Yeah.
And so when this guy called it was sort of just the right time.
Okay.
And I was very honest. I was like, listen, I have clinical depression. That's why I haven't been working.
Yeah.
I still have it.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
And he understood.
Yep.
Oh, beautiful. And now, earlier this year, you also did an online campaign, and it was you asking for help.
Yeah.
Which I know must be difficult, because more often, in general, we don't like to show that we need help.
Yeah.
That we're struggling. We want to, we want to present, we're good, everything's good. Look, I've got money in the bank. And meanwhile, you just, it's tough, it's rough.
Yeah.
But we try to put up face. So how did you come to the point where you just thought, enough is enough, I need to ask for help, and then you started this campaign?
Yeah, so, one, it's very hard to ask for help. 2, money is such a sensitive issue.
Yeah.
And I know that I have sort of a British accent, I'm mixed race, there's a lot of things that come with it,
Typically people think, Sam, what are you talking about? You speak like this, you look like this, you should be able to get a job.
And you should have the money or have someone to go to.
Yeah.
But I started it actually after I'd been working.
Okay.
And I then realized, oh shit, sorry, am I allowed? Oh God, I'm probably not allowed to say that. I was like, I don't have enough money to cover my debts and live. And so it was really at the point where I realized that I can't take care of 4 years worth of debt on my salary.
Right. And how did people respond to that? What was the public's reception?
So I was worried that it was going to be really mean, but it was life-changing. So I wrote a letter on Mchanga, which is where I did the fundraiser, and I've left it up. I didn't reach my goal. I got to 75%, but I reached my goal in so many other ways.
Yeah.
I thought people would be mean about it. They would say horrible things, but it was mostly people sending me direct messages saying, I feel like your life experience is mine. And then at the same time, I also did other stuff. So I wrote a letter to my younger self on Hadithi, which is this beautiful story, platform which allows you to write letters to your younger self.
Okay.
And so, for example, when I posted the Hadithi letter, this young girl who's studying law texted me, and she said, you know, I just read your letter, and yesterday I was Googling ways to commit suicide, and I've decided to keep on going.
So it's in those moments that you realize, ooh, I did the right thing. Have you always been open about your life and your struggles?
No, not really. No, that's why my friends were all so siloed. They didn't even know each other. No, but it's been sort of incredible. And doing the radio interview on Capital, the Nation interview, they sort of reach people of different ages and demographics.
Yeah.
And people, like, I think 282 people contributed.
Okay.
And then I'd done work with designers who make things in Kenya, and they donated stuff in kind.
And I saw the pictures that you took as well. The photos that you were taking, just to sort of share. Be part of the story and have it be part of the story.
Well, I'm wearing black today, but I think the misconception is that depressed people look a certain way, and you don't. You can't tell a person is depressed mostly by looking at them.
True. You can't. It's not easy to just be like, oh, I see you. In fact, more often than not, they're the people who are smiling the harder.
Yeah,
but inside,
because you're working so hard to overcompensate.
Oh, well, we have to take a quick break, but we'll be back in a moment with more of Sam's story and her journey. Welcome back. We've been talking to Sam McKenzie, and she's been so open with her struggle and her journey through depression, and that's clinical depression. And just before we continue the conversation, I hope that if you are watching this and you start to see parts of yourself in Sam's story, that one, you know that you are not alone, and that there is no typical version of what someone who's depressed looks like or has to be like. And so let go of all that you thought about mental illness, and two, that you can get help, and that, look at Sam, you're here and you're standing strong every day. And now I want to try and understand, at the beginning you did share that your mom struggled to understand exactly what it is. By this time, when you're going and asking people for help, what was her response to all of that?
Well, I just explained that it was like an online Harambe, and people get Harambes.
Yeah. She was like, aha.
Yeah, I got it.
Good. Okay. Yeah.
The other stuff, not so much, but like that she got.
Okay.
And my mom was really proud when I was in the Nation, because it's like she kept the page, and I think like that legitimized it for her. She was like, okay, you have depression.
Yeah.
The Nation has said so.
Yeah. Now we can stand tall and be like, yeah, it's okay, it's fine. Now we just need to figure it out. Okay.
Yeah.
So it made sense for her.
Yeah. I mean, but she's been really good.
Yeah.
In as much as she can be. But I also realized that sometimes, even though we love our parents unconditionally, they might not be the best person for this one thing.
Yeah.
So it's good to have your support system, and if you have one, like, I am so lucky to have the friends I have.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that I survived before my fundraiser was because my friends were helping me out with my rent, with my bills.
Right.
I borrowed money from everybody, but like friends who just kept like helping, like, they're crazy.
Yeah. In a beautiful way, crazy beautiful.
Yes, exactly.
So what are some of the treatment options that you then took on? I know you've talked about medication, but did you keep up with therapy, or what else did you do?
So first of all, the one thing I do want to say is the people who do contact me, like on Instagram, I took a break from May because I was exhausted by it, and some people contacted me, and I really want to like urge those people that you can talk to me whenever, but please go see like a professional, because I'm just the person struggling. I can't help. Like, I can talk to you, I can be there for you, I can share my experience. Please do text me about that, but go see a professional, and there's no shame in it. And you might not find the right one right away. in terms of psychologists or psychiatrists.
True. So there has to be a good rapport. Yeah.
So if it doesn't work out with the psychologist the first time, try a different one.
Okay.
You know.
So actually,
it's like difference.
Sorry?
The difference between a psychologist and psychiatrist?
No, I know the difference. Okay. But you can explain. You can explain the difference.
One you talk to, one like gives you medication.
Yeah. So psychiatrist is the one who offers medication. Psychologist you speak to.
Yeah.
But now, so how did you keep up with that if you were struggling with the bills?
Yeah. So I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was one treatment option that just went out.
Yeah, and antidepressants are so expensive.
Yeah.
So at one point I was like even like cutting, I missed my dose like for quite a while, and that made me physically sick. It wasn't even that it takes a while to get out of your body the same way. It was just like, you shouldn't stop right away. So then I was like cutting my dose in half, so it wasn't really working, and I was self-medicating and like all sorts of not the right things. But antidepressants are so expensive, and so I have health insurance, which is a godsend, and it was one of the things I paid through with my fundraiser.
Oh, good.
Because otherwise I can't afford my medication, and I need it.
Yeah.
But I do think that antidepressants are not the only course of treatment. It's just that I love, this is my best analogy for explaining why I am on them.
Okay.
You can your body can get better from depression, I think, from what I've understood. Like the chemicals can balance themselves out, the ones that are missing.
Yeah.
I don't know, I didn't go to medical school. But if you're really, really sick, and the way I saw it like last year and before that, I was in a very dark hole. And in theory, I could have climbed out of this black hole. I could have found little notches or whatever. They may have been like a secret door or whatever. But I was just too tired and too stuck to move from there.
Okay.
So the antidepressants were just like that little rope or a person or with a torch or a way out of the hole, so that I could start doing those other things which are good for you, like eating a healthy diet, like exercise. Because if I can't get out of bed, I'm not going to be running.
No.
You know? So one has to come before the other.
Okay.
And so, yes, I agree, exercise is so important. Eating healthy is so important, but don't let anybody like tell you that because you take antidepressants you're weak.
Right.
Because you wouldn't tell someone who has another disease and they're taking their medication that they're weak or stupid. You would tell them, well done, good,
There's
keep going.
so many misconceptions around mental illness, and that's hopefully what we're slowly coming out of. And I can see even online there's more and more conversations. I see the tweets coming out from you guys, just people more curious about what exactly is mental illness. Because like we said, maybe someone's watching this and they're like, I think that could be me,
or someone
the
you
start
know
of me,
or
someone you know, and that's when it starts to hit home, right?
And antidepressants are one of the medications that have improved over the years, have less side effects, and have been proven to work. Like I read an article on The Guardian the other day that is like, why is there a stigma for a medication that works?
But you know, I mean, hopefully we're going to climb out of that. But I know during our little feature segment, you were telling us how you like to walk, and you make a point to walk every day, and that helps clear your mind, and it just it helps really. What are some of the other things outside of medication and maybe diet that you believe help get you out of those dark spaces?
Well, I mean, I really think being well enough to work again and having a job has also saved me, because it's a wonderful job in a really creative space, and seeing people. Like I wasn't seeing anybody, like nobody for months. So seeing people, eating with people, just that social interaction, you forget how important it is. And so that has really been like a godsend, having that. Because I'm not the most social of people. Like I won't go out very much. So like having a job and a place to go every day has been really important.
Yeah, it forces you to interact with others and to learn. And actually, speaking of learning, I think at difficult moments in life or hardships usually bring about teachable moments. What do you think have been some of the greatest lessons that you can take from your journey and the ongoing journey?
I'm not done yet. Not done learning as well. Gosh, it's a tough one. And I think anything I say will be really corny. But I do think it's learn to let go and let others take care of you if they can. That people that you thought were your mentors or your family or your elders or people you should respect might not know the best things. Because I've been told I'm not resilient enough by someone I thought of as a father figure. And that is one of the most painful things I've ever heard. And it's taken me like a long time to get over it. So learning to let go, and then also learning to let go of the guilt. Because I have
Guilt from what?
Well, not being able to take care of my mum, not being able to pay my bills, having so much debt. Like, I hate all that stuff about me. But, you know, I just have to be like, okay, well, what are you going to do? Sit around feeling unhappy about something that already exists? So letting go of the guilt is like my big 2018 is less guilt.
Sam, I think you're doing a phenomenal job. I mean, we're sitting here right now and you're still taking care of your mom. And I know earlier you told me that you've been taking care of the bills since you were 18, right? And you've been taking care of yourself.
But my mom took care of me, and my dad left when I was very young.
And power
We're a
to
team.
Power to single mothers and taking on, you know, whatever duties and responsibilities that are there and just getting things done. But I also want to take a moment for Sam and to just honor you and to honor the fact that you have been working and fighting and struggling and that this isn't as easy as just snap your fingers, take meds, and you're great, but it's a work in progress, and that you are incredible and graceful, and we honor the fact that you're so open about sharing your story, because you're also not only taking care of yourself and your mom, but you're impacting so many people watching this now and are realizing that it's okay to be down and it's okay to have those tough moments, and that you can come out of that.
Thank you so much for having me, and it was a pleasure.
No, thank you.
And I really do think it's important to talk about this more. The less the stigma goes away, the less young people will die from suicide and or spend years of their lives.
Or
like
old people.
wasted.
I know, because I know earlier we were saying sometimes, you know, there's this mentality in Africa that mental health is just something that, you know, like the person who was telling you that you need to be resilient. That's just, it's madness. You wouldn't tell someone who's broken their arm, be resilient, come on, take that. It's, you try and fix that.
They think it's a millennial problem or a problem from the West.
Exactly.
But you get like a lot of people, like as you get older, some diseases come with depression. There's, you know, and depression is only like, it's the disease I have, clinical depression, but it's only one component of mental health.
That's true.
I can't even comprehend the entire
spectrum of it.
But I do think that people, ordinary people like me, who are not perfect and have made mistakes but are still here despite that, if we keep talking, we can help one or two people. And because I really like those people who wrote me messages, thank you so much, because you made me feel not alone. And I'm glad that you are my now internet friends. Is that a thing?
Yeah, no, it is. Absolutely. Are you kidding me? It's for sure, internet friends. Maybe one last thing from you that you wish people knew about mental health. Just before we go, one last thing that you wish you could shake into people and have them understand. I know we've talked a lot about that, but is there anything that you feel you want to?
So I actually heard it from someone else at a panel that I did, that we've been talking about an illness, but the topic is really mental health. So let's start including our mental health as part of our physical health. So let's look after the whole of us. So when you do self-care, it's not just, you know, going to the salon, getting your nails done, or exercising. You're also taking time out to figure out, you know, where's my head at? We keep ourselves so busy that we don't have time to think about what's going on, sometimes until it's too late. So think about it as mental health.
Exactly. And not necessarily the illness. And allow yourself also moments of stillness, to be quiet, to be okay being alone and understand what's going on.
Because that is hard. No one wants to be alone.
No one wants to be alone. That's why we're on, like, our phones, we're constantly on our phones. But Sam McKenzie, thank you for being such an incredible guest and sharing your story. I hope that this touched you as much as it touched me today. And again, remember, we will be continuing these conversations over the next 3 weeks. Is it 3? Yeah, 3 more weeks. So we have a total of 4 shows where we just want to unpack this mental health and the different variants around it. Thanks again for watching. Remember, we are having a giveaway. I don't know if I said it earlier, actually. I may not have mentioned it. Did I? I can't remember. Oh, I did mention it. Producer is telling me no, I didn't mention it. Sorry, but guess what? We are having a giveaway. We are going to announce it tomorrow on tomorrow's show. So come back tomorrow. Let us know what your thoughts are about the show. If you have any tips, by the way, we read every single one of your comments. So keep them coming, as honest as you want to be. Keep them coming. Let us know who you'd love to see on the show too, and maybe we'll have them as a next guest. But for now, I'm gonna love you and leave you. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. sharp.